Most people are stuck in a system designed to work harder and not smarter. We're here to expose the strategies, the loopholes and the life hacks the 1% use. This is universal basic knowledge.
Every airline ticket, hotel room, restaurant, and rental car has a hidden price tag. One that the wealthy and the financially savvy have been leveraging for years. It all comes down to the credit card sign-up cycle and understanding the real value of points, not just cash back. But you need both to make things work at the 100x level. The trick? Banks are competing for your business. They're offering tens of thousands of dollars worth of sign-up bonuses if you know how to use them. By strategically opening the right credit cards, meeting the minimum spend requirements, and rotating through the best travel reward programs, you can stack free flights, 5-star hotels, Michelin restaurants, and upgrades without ever paying full price. This is how you can be financially savvy and live your best life without spending any more. Now, instead of giving you general basic advice about just tips to think about, I'm gonna actually give you my own stack for credit cards on how I optimize both my personal and company life. So I've broken down to some generalized categories. I kind of have a general category, we'll do that last. And then we have flights, hotels, Amazon. Personally, I almost buy everything on Amazon, and so I put that in there. Restaurants, gas and groceries, business, and general, right? And some other discount programs that I find really helpful. And I'll give an estimation of kind of how much I might be saving in a given year and maybe have saved over the last decade. So we're gonna start with flights here. So the two best cards that I personally use for flights have been the Amex Platinum card and the Amex Citi card, right? So Amex has a Citi card. It is a card that basically gets you access to any lounge on American Airlines. I happen to travel a lot on American Airlines. Every airline kind of has one of these, so you can essentially find the right one for you. But I find this card very, very valuable. If you're in the air a lot, you have lounge access, there's drinks, there's food. It's a nice place to stay, free Wi-Fi. And generally will save you a lot of time and hassle in between airports. So this is also kind of a lounge access card as well. And then the Amex Platinum part, the reason that we have put this card here is that not only do you get a lot of great benefits with Amex, there's a whole host of them that we'll put here in the show notes, but one of the benefits is that they have the Amex Travel Hub where you can get up to a 10 to 20x multiplier on the points, meaning that the value that you get for any point, it could be 50,000 points could equal as little as $300 to $500 for you, but it could also equal a $5,000 ticket in first class if you use it correctly through the airlines. And we've gone through that in deep. We'll link some videos in the show notes within this section. For hotels, I personally use the Marriott Amex card and the Marriott Business card as well. So they have two cards depending if I'm doing a personal travel or business travel. Now the reason that I use these two cards is that I find that Marriott has the best pricing and inventory worldwide. One of the best benefits of Marriott is that they have a 4 p.m. checkout. And depending on your status, in theory, sometimes you can actually set your own checkout time if you travel enough. But with this card, you can get up to 16x points. In addition, you get 2 free nights a year. That's worth like $1,000. And you also get the 16x points. And this stuff really, really adds up. Anytime you spend money there as well in their restaurants, you're getting 16x. So it's kind of like getting a 16% rebate on every dollar that you're spending on vacation. And that stuff generally really adds up along with your business if you have business travel. So those, in my opinion, are the two best cards to do, whether you're using it for personal or for business. And then the Amex Citi card on lounge. Now, personally, I tend to buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, right? It gets delivered to my house, and now it's even faster. They're delivering same day. Now, over time, I started to look up how much I was spending yearly on Amazon. And I don't know if you've gone through this. You can go into the settings of your cart or of your account and see. But if you're spending, $15,000, $20,000 a year because you're buying your stuff on Amazon across your entire household, that really adds up. So Amex has two cards. They have a prepaid card for people that are just getting started in their card journey, and that gets 5% cash back on any Amazon purchase, or they have a Chase card that has a few extra benefits and also gets 5% cash back. Now, the benefit here is that even if you don't have a great credit score, you will likely get approved for their kind of prepaid card, which is a smaller credit limit and allows you to build credit. But the bottom line here is that you are getting 5% back. Now, if you're spending $20,000 a year on Amazon, you can save $1,000 just for doing what you were going to do. That's a lot of money. So that's a lot of savings. And that will really stack up over the next decade if you continue buying on Amazon. And, unlikely for my habits to change, at least for myself. So that really add up. Now, if you're eating out a lot in restaurants, there is a Capital One Saver card. And this card is very good. It is a 3% cash back. Now, that's not an insane amount, but if you are spending $20,000 a year on going out to eat, which is a little under $2,000 a month for a family of 4, that's pretty normal. Or if you live in the city, you're probably eating out a little more often. That's $600, right, of savings, right? One benefit of the Capital One Saver card, which we'll put a description on for this video as well, it also gets you access to 10% off of Uber, and you get Uber One for free. So if you're living in the city and you're using Uber a lot, for me, we were spending about $10,000 a year in Uber rides because we were living in the city, we were traveling quite a lot, and so that really adds up. That's another $1,000. And so this card will give you a discount, and you'll get another 10% off. And so that's, I'll put restaurant and ride sharing, as an example, because that's the same card. And so I always use that card to save that money. So between those, that's $1,600 that I might save given the example. Right? And then we have a gas and grocery card. So there is an Amex Blue card, and it's called like Amex Gas and Groceries, and it's 6% cash back on gas and groceries. Now, gas is something that, if you don't have a hybrid, you are definitely paying for. And groceries, most people are eating, and it works at any grocery store, and you can save 6% on the entire spend. So if you were spending $20,000 a year on gas and groceries, this card, just by doing what you're going to do, you save $1,200 a year, right? And so we're looking at here, just for the sake of the example, say that we're going to spend $10,000 a year in hotels from travel, and we are getting 16x. That's at minimum $1,600, right? And so we have $1,600, $1,000, $1,000, $1,200, and then on the flights here, I'm gonna put safely that saves me $20,000 a year because I'm not buying. If I do 4 first-class tickets or something with these points, and so just by adding these up, we are seeing a lot of savings. I'm gonna put that down here because it's getting a little messy. So we have 20,000 plus 1,600 plus 1,000 plus 1,600 plus 1,200. Right? So you get the picture. Now, if you're a business owner, and I can say that our company Mode and everything I do, and for our business, we are very focused on credit card points and try and pay everything with credit card points. Whether it's our legal bills, our invoices, we really work this hard because as a business, you're spending way more. But oftentimes, people just want to get paid, and you can pay things with a credit card. So if every year your business is spending $10 million, for example, if you have a larger business and you're getting 2% cash back, you are literally getting 200,000 free dollars just for spending your bills, right? So never send ACH, never send wire if you can't, if you don't have to. Always pay with a credit card, and then you get that. So the best business cards that I've generally seen, there's an Amex Business Platinum. That still gets you a lot of the perks up here. There's a Capital One card that gets you 2% cash back. It's a Spark card is what it's called. I've used that one, has great sign up bonuses. And then there's a Brex card. Brex is also a bank account, but you get 2% cash back on everything you do there, along with 45-day payment terms. So I included that here in case there are some business owners, but this really adds a tremendous amount of value. And over the course of a decade, as this example, and we recently pulled this number, we have saved over $1 million in cash back since the inception of this program about 7 or 8 years ago on all of our spending. So that is $1 extra million that we just got for spending the way that we normally would spend, because we as an accounting team and finance team have really focused on always ensuring that we're paying in this format. And generally, there are other cards out there. Usually the best cashback programs are gonna be 2% general cashback. Wells Fargo is a card that I personally use for this, and there's a 2% cashback. So if it doesn't fall into flights, if it doesn't fall into hotels, if it doesn't fall into Amazon, if it doesn't fall into ride sharing, gas, groceries, or business, I have a general card, and my general card is what I always use for things. So if I'm going to the mall or my wife wants something, it's a 2% cash back, and it adds up, so that's probably going to be your biggest category because it's the general category. And so if that's $30,000 a year, for example, if that's what you're spending, that's another $600 that you're going to save, right? So we're going to add that. I'm not going to include the business here because that may not be applicable to everyone. Now, the last thing here is not a credit card per se, but it is a program, and it's something called Founders Card. And this is an example of one. There's other of these kind of discount clubs. Some people use AAA. We use Founders Card. I think Founders Card, anyone does. You don't even have to be a founder. You just need to be like a business professional. It's pretty easy to get into. You pay a monthly or a yearly membership. It's relatively cheap. It's $200. But one of the things that I found interesting with this is there's some really great discounts in there. So for example, the phone bill. If you have AT&T, for example, you can basically get 8% cash back, right? And they have other partnerships with other phone carriers as well. But if you are essentially spending $150 a year or a month, you can basically get 8% cash back. And so, that's about $12. And over the course of the year, that's going to save you $150. For cars, you can get this platinum statuses with Hertz and Sixt and all those car rental companies. Now, you can get up to 15% cash back on that. So if you spend about $2,000 a year on cards and you're going to get 15%, that's $300. But the most important thing here is that you don't have to wait in line. The amount of times that you go on vacation and then there's this monster line because you bought it on Hotwire is the worst, and that wastes your time. And you have to also, it's not just about saving money, it's about saving your time, because time is even more important than money, right? And so that's a big opportunity here, is because you get these platinum statuses and then you also get the discounts, so just, in this quick calculation of what we're doing here, so that's 2,600, 3,242, 54, 6,000, 6,300. So this is a $26,000 a year savings, right, on this example that we just gave in a year, by doing the things that everyone else would do in a normal circumstance, right, and living my life. And if I chose just to do what everyone else does or wasn't paying attention to the cards, I would be paying $26,000 a year more to kind of do these normal numbers depending on how often you're traveling. So over the course of a decade, especially if you invest this money you saved, right, even at a very simple rate of 10%, that's going to stack up quite significantly. It's almost $30,000 a year, and it compounds over time. We're talking about in a decade, I will likely have an extra $400,000 in my bank account that other people are not going to have, simply by paying for the things that everyone else is paying, but just by having a system of how we pay for things, right? And so that's a real life example of what I use. We're gonna have the cards here. Again, not making any affiliate commissions on these. I just wanna provide a helpful stack of how to think about spending in your household or within your business. Here's the wild part. Most people spend the same money every year on groceries, gas, and bills. But with the right strategy, the same amount of money could be getting you multiple free trips and other perks throughout the year. Travel isn't just for the rich. It's for those who understand how the system works. If this sounds interesting to you, join our free community. You don't need to be rich to live like the 1%. You just need to learn what they do. With the right strategies, you can 10x your lifestyle without spending any more than you do today. The difference is not income, it's information. This is universal basic knowledge.